Okay. Do we have sound now? Is there sound now, Tony? Are we good? Thank you. Okay, so we got to back up. Okay. I'm going to read through the lawsuit. There's a reason for that. I keep reading through. I went back and started listening to Repzilla, and I just couldn't. I couldn't let it go. I'm like, no, I'm going to have to read through this because I don't think people realize how bad this is. Really don't think you guys realize how bad this lawsuit is. So I'm going to read through the lawsuit. Um, so you can click on the lawsuit link. It's the link I posted in the comment section. If you want to see the entirety of the lawsuit, I'm going to read parts of the lawsuit. Basically, I start at number 3, which is talking about the first part of it. Number 1 talks about where it's headquartered. Number 2 is talking about who the company is. Number 3 is talking about that it's women are less hired. When they are hired, they are lower totem, lower on the totem pole. There's less percentage of them hired, and the disparities exist throughout the company. So women are lower hired, less raises given, and the disparities exist throughout the company. Number 4, like the executive ranks, women across the company are assigned to lower paid and lower opportunity levels. Female employees receive lower starting pay and also earn less than male employees for substantially similar work. Defendants promote women more slowly and terminate them more quickly than their male counterparts. Faced with such diverse terms and conditions of employment, many women have been forced to leave the company. Number 5, defendants have also fostered a perverse frat boy workplace culture that continues to thrive. In the office, women are subjected to cube crawls, in which male employees drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl their way through various cubicles in the office, and often engage in inappropriate behavior toward female employees. Male employees proudly come into work hungover, play video games for long periods of time during work, while delegating their responsibilities to female employees, engage in banter about their sexual encounters, talk openly about female bodies, and joke about rape. Number 6, unsurprisingly, defendant frat boy culture is a breeding ground for harassment and discrimination against women. Female employees are subjected to constant sexual harassment, including having to continually fend off unwanted sexual comments and advances by their male coworkers and supervisors, and being groped at the cube crawls. I say cube crawls. And the other company events. High-ranking executives and creators engaged in blatant sexual harassment without repercussions. In a particularly tragic example, a female employee committed suicide during a business trip with a male supervisor who had brought a butt plug and lubricant with him on the trip. Defendants continuously condone the quid pro quo and hostile work environment. The message is not lost on their employees. Did you hear what I just read? Number 7, numerous complaints about unlawful harassment, discrimination, and retaliation were made to defendants, human resources personnel, and executives, including to Blizzard's entertainment president J. Allen Brack. But defendants failed to take effective remedial measures in response to these complaints. Employees were further discouraged from complaining as human resources personnel were known to be close to alleged harassers. An internal investigation into human resources unit noted that there were a big lack of trust and that HR not held in high regard. Unsurprisingly, employees' complaints were treated in a perfunctory and dismissive manner and not kept confidential. As a result of these complaints, female employees were subjected to retaliation, including but not limited to being deprived of work on projects, unwillingly transferred to different units, and selected for layoffs. Let me get a drink of water. This is going to be a long one, guys. Saddle up. Plaintiff DFEH, an agency of the state of California, brings this enforcement action. They brought the enforcement action against defendants in its prosecutorial role, seeking relief in the public interest for the state and for defendants' female employee, the group, pursuant to the authority vested in DFEH under FEHA Government Code Section 12900 ET-SEQ. I don't know what that means. And related law. DFEH's enforcement action seeks to remedy, prevent, and deter unlawful harassment, retaliation, and discrimination. Specifically, the violations pled herein include claims for sex discrimination in terms of condition of employment, including compensation, assignment, promotion, constructive discharge, and termination, unlawful sexual harassment, retaliation, failure to prevent discrimination, harassment and retaliation, and unequal pay. Now, the next thing says parties above it. Number 9. Plaintiff Department of Fair Employment and Housing. Okay, I don't know what this is. This goes into all the discrimination parties. Let's see. Okay, this just goes into it basically explains out what they're not allowed to discriminate. What discrimination is. Basically, they're investigating on behalf of itself and persons alleged to be aggrieved by discriminatory employment. They were authorized to investigate under labor code, blah, blah, blah. That's basically all number 9 was. Number 10, defendant Activision Blizzard Incorporated is now and was at all times relevant to this complaint. Now, I'm not sure what that means. Blah, blah, blah. Defendant, let's see. Okay, let's see. And this just, number 11 explained where they were located, where they're at. Number 12, it's just where they're at. Defendant does 1 through 10 inclusive are sued herein. Number 14. Okay, that doesn't explain anything. Okay, I'm just reading you the allegations and let's see. That may have been all the allegations. Yeah, I think that's it. Wait a minute. Okay, no, here we go. Okay, because here comes factual allegation. No, I think that may be what it was. Yeah, I think that's it. Because I'm not a lawyer. I'm just reading it. Because they're going into how the females were paid less than the males were paid. They were afforded less stock and less pay opportunities. Okay. I'm going through a lawsuit. I know. Did I not bring them in here? I'm sorry. They were assigned a lower level role. Denied equal pay, passed over for promotions. Oh yeah, here's something. Okay, here's the factual allegations. Okay, so we're going to go through the factual allegations because here's some things that we may find some more things in here that we didn't hear in the beginning of the lawsuit. It says defendants have engaged in and continue to perpetuate discriminatory practices regarding pay, assignment, promotion, and other terms and conditions of employment which negatively affected impacted female employees. These discriminatory practices began at hire when women were offered lower compensation and less lucrative job assignments and opportunities than their male counterparts. Defendant paid female employees significantly less in starting pay than their male counterparts at hire. This pattern or practice and violations were continuing. The pay disparity continued throughout employment for female employees. Defendants paid female employees significantly less than their male counterparts for hire. This pattern of practice and violations are continuing. Women were also afforded less stock and incentive pay opportunities. Female employees are overwhelmingly assigned into lower grades levels without stock and incentive pay opportunities or less opportunities. Female employees also receive less stock and incentive compensations than male employees. This pattern of practice and violations are continuing. So they're just stating that none of this has changed from the day that it started till now. And I might add that this was brought up once before with Activision. This is an ongoing thing with Activision. This is not just a one-time thing. This has happened with Activision before. Women were steered into the lower levels of defendants' hierarchy and often had to work harder and longer to earn equal promotional and other opportunities as their male counterparts. As example, a female employer working for Blizzard Entertainment was assigned to a lower level role, denied equal pay, and subsequently sought a promotion because she had been carrying out duties exceeding her job description. She was repeatedly told it was not her turn and others deserved a promotion ahead of her. Ultimately, the employee was promoted after 3 years, while her male counterpart was promoted within a year of his hire, despite having started several months after her. Her male counterpart was also assigned leadership responsibilities, which she was not afforded, responsibilities which furthered the male employee's ability to get promoted. In another example, a female employee who had worked at Blizzard Entertainment was assigned a lower level, denied equal pay, and passed over for promotion despite multiple factors that she suggested she earned it. 1, highly rated performance reviews. 2, she generated significantly more revenue in her marketing campaigns than her male counterpart. And 3, she ran almost twice as many campaigns as her male counterpart. Despite her accomplishments, her male counterpart was invited to have a monthly or weekly one-on-one meetings with the vice president. She was not afforded these same opportunities, and unsurprisingly, she was passed over for a promotion in favor of her male counterpart. Similarly, other female employees at Blizzard Entertainment were assigned to lower level roles, denied equal pay, and further delayed or passed over for promotions in favor of male counterparts who lacked the same experience or qualifications, but who were friends with the male head of the unit. A newly promoted male supervisor delegated his responsibilities to his now female subordinates in favor of playing Call of Duty. Other male supervisors would refuse to communicate with female employees, going to their male counterparts for information. Female employees at Activision Publishing were also assigned to lower level roles, denied equal pay, and delayed or passed over for promotions of their male counterparts. As an example, a female human resource employee at Activision Publishing was delayed and passed over for promotion despite receiving positive performance reviews, doing substantial more work than her male counterpart, and taking over the actual responsibilities of the departing person. Female accounting employees at Activision Publishing likewise note that the male counterpart were paid significantly more than them despite doing the same or less work and having less responsibility. Female employees were also not promoted because of the defendant's discriminatory practices against pregnant female employees. A female employee working on one game team had assumed some of the responsibilities of a manager, but when she asked her male supervisor about being fairly paid for the work she had actually been doing and promoted into that position, the manager commented that they could not risk promoting her as she might get pregnant and like being a mom too much. In general, female employees were further treated negatively due to their pregnancies. Supervisors ignored medical restrictions given to female employees and gave them negative evaluations when they were out on maternity leave. Other female employees reported that they were criticized for leaving to pick up their children from daycare while their male counterparts were playing video games, and female employees were kicked out of lactation rooms so employees could use the rooms for meetings. Women of color were particularly vulnerable targets for defendants' discriminatory practices. An African American employee noted that it took her 2 years to be made into a permanent employee, while men hired after her were made permanent employees. She also was micromanaged such that her male coworkers were known to be playing video games without any intervention by her supervisor, but her supervisor would call and check on her if she took a break to go on a walk. Another African American employee who worked on the information technology was similarly micromanaged by her manager, unlike the men on her team. When she requested time off work, her manager made her write a one-page summary of how she would spend that time off work when no one else had to do any write-up. The male supervisor also criticized her body language despite male counterparts, slouching in meetings, and she was scolded for asking assistance while others could get help on similar tasks without the same criticism. These experiences led female employees to leave their employment with defendants. As a result, these discriminatory pay assignments, promotions, and other practices, defendants' gender pay gap is significant. Defendants paid female employees significantly less in base pay and total compensation than their male counterparts. This pattern on practice and violations were continuing. So none of this stuff changed. I mean, are we living in the good old boy system or what, people? When women complain to human resources personnel about the lack of equal employment opportunities, especially in comparison to their male counterparts, their complaints fell on deaf ears or were met with an empty promise to investigate the issues, about like my numbers on my website. They keep going up, but nobody says anything. Oh, I love you guys. You know I don't care about numbers. I think it's hilarious. Indeed, despite having a retained Paul Hastings LLP from 2015 to 2017 and Miller Law Group in 2018 to allegedly provide analysis related to compensation data, defendants failed to take effective and reasonable steps to prevent pay discrimination, as the pay disparity between male and female employees was not remedied or continued. As a result of these discriminatory practices, female employees were forced to leave their employment with defendants. So you can see right there that they brought people in to make it look like they were going to change things, but they didn't change anything. Can you pull my door to a little bit? Because I'm reading this lawsuit. You probably don't want to hear me read the lawsuit. I love you.
What's the lawsuit?
It's a gaming company that I liked. Okay. As a result of these discriminatory practices, female employees were forced to leave their employment with defendants. For example, female employees noted that they accepted less compensation than they were making in their prior employment or offered by other companies to work for defendants, with the hollow promise that they would get promoted or get other forms of compensation to make up the difference. They never made up ground and instead had to watch as male comparators were promoted more quickly and offered more compensation, forcing them to leave the company. Additionally, defendants terminated female employees more quickly than their male counterparts. This pattern of practice and violations were continuing. In sum, defendants' discriminatory practices adversely affected the women in compensation, assignment, promotion, and termination. Defendants failed to take effective steps to remedy or adequately correct its compensation disparities, despite its awareness that such disparities existed. Defendants' discriminatory practices continue to the date of this complaint. Sexual harassment. This one's a hard one, guys, because this one's going to get ugly. I'm pretty sure. So if y'all don't want to hear about any of this, don't listen past this. Female employees almost universally confirmed that working for defendants was akin to working in a frat house, which invariably involved male employees drinking and subjecting female employees to sexual harassment with no repercussion. Cube crawls in defendants' offices were common, and male employees proudly came into work hungover. Similarly, male employees would play video games during work, engage in banter about their sexual encounters, talk openly about female bodies, and make numerous jokes about rape. As a product of this frat boy culture, women were subject to numerous sexual comments and advances, groping and unwanted physical touching, and other forms of harassment. A female employee noted that random male employees would approach her on defendant's work site and comment on her breasts. Female employees work for the World of Warcraft team noted that male employees and supervisors would hit on them, making derogatory comments about rape and otherwise engage in demeaning behavior. This behavior was known to supervisors and indeed encouraged by them, including a male supervisor who openly encouraged a male subordinate to buy a prostitute to cure his bad mood. In a blatant example of defendant's refusal to deal with a harasser because of his seniority position, Alex, and I cannot say his last name, it's Afrisiabi, and I'll just say Alex because I cannot say his last name, Afrisambi, the former senior creative director of World of Warcraft at Blizzard Entertainment, was permitted to engage in blatant sexual harassment with little to no repercussions during a company event, an annual convention called BlizzCon. Now, this is at BlizzCon. Now, for anybody that's gone to BlizzCon, you all know what it is. And you can go online to YouTube and watch BlizzCon. Alex would hit on female employees, telling them he wanted to marry them, attempting to kiss them, and putting his arms around them. This was in plain view of other male employees, including supervisors, who had to intervene and pull him off female employees. Alex was also known to engage in harassment of females, that his suite was nicknamed the Crosby Suite after alleged rapist Bill Crosby. Alex would also call females derogatory names at company events. Alex's conduct was known to Blizzard Entertainment's executives, who took no effective remedial measures. J. Allen Brock, president of Blizzard Entertainment, allegedly had multiple conversations with Alex about his drinking and that he had been too friendly towards female employees at company events, but gave Alex a slap on the wrist, i.e. verbal counseling, in response to these incidents. Subsequently, Alex continued to make unwanted advances toward female employees, including grabbing a female employee's hand and inviting her to his hotel room and groping another woman. In a tragic example of the harassment that defendants allowed to fester in their offices, a female employee committed suicide while on a company trip due to a sexual relationship that she'd been having with her male supervisor. The male supervisor was found by police to have bought a butt plug and lubricant on his business trip. Another employee confirmed that the deceased female employee may have been suffering from other sexual harassment at work prior to her death. Specifically, at a holiday party before her death, male co-workers were alleged to be passing around a picture of the deceased's vagina. We'll never buy anything from this company ever again. Will never. The problems of harassment and discrimination extended to, and at a minimum were known to those at the top. Defendant's former chief technology officer was observed by employees groping inebriated female employees at company events and was known for making hiring decisions based on female applicants' looks. An employee complained to Blizzard Entertainment president J. Allen Brack in early 2019 that employees were leaving due to sexual harassment and sexism. Specifically, this employee noted that women on the Battle.net team were subjected to disparaging comments. The environment was akin to working in a frat house, and that women who were not huge gamers or core gamers and not into party scene were excluded and treated as outsiders. Female employees had raised further complaints to various human resources personnel about the discrimination they faced, including but not limited to complaints about unfair pay and assignments, male coworkers belittling them or minimizing their contributions, and male counterparts being promoted quickly despite their lack of seniority. Similarly, female employees also complained of the harassment they suffered, including that male coworkers groped them, that male supervisors asked them on dates, and of other unwanted harassment. Defendants failed to take reasonable action in response to these complaints. Such lack of effective remedial measure was not surprisingly given. Defendants' own internal investigation into their human resource unit noted that there was a big lack of trust and that HR not held in high regard. Multiple employees also noted that their complaints were not kept confidential. In retaliation for complaints they made regarding harassment and discrimination, female employees experienced retaliation by defendants that included involuntary transfers, selection for layoff, and denial of projects or other opportunities. Defendants' flawed policies and practices effectively allowed and continue to allow discrimination to occur in defendants' workplace. Employees have suffered and will continue to suffer harm from defendants' ongoing unlawful policies and practices until they are enjoined by this court. Now, this is the first. This says first cause of action: employment discrimination because of sex compensation. DFEH incorporates and regales all previous allegations as if fully set forth herein. Government Code Section 129040, Subdivision A states that it is unlawful employment practices for an employer to discriminate against the person in compensation or in terms and conditions or privilege of employment because of that person's sex. And that just goes into, you can't be discriminated against for your sex, creed, nationality, color, all that stuff. And that basically goes into what they're saying here. You can't be, Then the second cause of action here is employment discrimination because of sex promotion, because of sex. So they can't discriminate against the women because of their sex. They can't discriminate against the women because of who they are. That's the second ground of. The third cause of action is discrimination because of sex, termination. So the first reason is compensation. They didn't compensate the women. That's what they're fighting against. Employment discrimination because of sex compensation. The second one is employment discrimination because of sex promotion. They didn't promote the women when they should have. And then the third one is employment discrimination because of sex termination, illegally terminating them for no reason. I guess that's what they're going for. And then fourth cause of action, employment discrimination because of sex, constructive discharge. Fifth cause of action, employment discrimination because of sex harassment. I can believe that one. And the sixth cause of action, retaliation. That's a lot to unpack. Seventh cause of action, failure to prevent discrimination and harassment on behalf of a group. Eighth cause of action, failure to prevent discrimination and harassment on behalf of DFEH. I guess that's on behalf of the actual, and I don't know what DFEH is. Department of, I don't know what DFEH is. Let me look that up real quick. Oh, Department of Fair Employment and Housing. Okay, so that's on behalf of the Department of Fair Employment and Housing. So they're doing that on their side. And the ninth cause of action is unequal pay. And the 10th action is waiver of rights, forms and procedures, and release of claims. I don't know what that means. And I think that's pretty much it. Demand for jury trial, and that's it. That's the rest of the. So there you have it. There is the lawsuit in its entirety. I don't think I missed anything. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what, I don't know what legalese is. I do know what the charges are. I think I pretty much went through all the charges. I will never buy another Blizzard, another Activision. We'll never buy another product from this company again. I will not. I just can't in good standing buy a product from a company that treats women like these people do, has treated women like they have. There had been rumblings. Now, this is all alleged. I mean, of course, I have to say alleged because I'm not there. I did not work for the company. This is a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard. I'm not there. This is a lawsuit against them. This is alleged. I do not This is a lawsuit. I just read the lawsuit. But there had been rumblings for years, and I remember hearing about, when the turnover happened, there was supposed to be a big release with Diablo years ago. Then there was a huge undertaking that happened with Diablo. Like the entire team just flipped. Like the entire team was gone. One entire team was gone. And everybody had to wonder, like, what happened, because it was like the entire team, like there was one entire team working on Diablo. Well, the entire team left. Or so they said, the entire team left. Now we may know that there was a lot more going on behind the scenes than what meets the eye. I don't know that. I'm saying allegedly. I don't know. All I know is that a lot of us that played Diablo wondered why the game didn't get released when they said it would, because they said we would get a release like 2 years ago. But this new release that we were supposed to get 2 years ago didn't happen until about a year ago. And it wasn't even up to par like what we thought it would be. And then they're slowly eking out like this like fourth version of whatever. And I've already bought mine. See, this is the sad part about it. I've already sunk money into a game that now I don't even really want. I want nothing to do with it. So I put the question off to you all. How do you feel about it? What do you guys think about a company that, do you guys play Blizzard Activision games? Do you guys have any feelings about it? Because I know, as somebody that plays these games, that likes playing Activision, Blizzard. Diablo's my jam. I like Diablo, but I can't in good faith buy a game from a company that treats women like they do. That's kind of like, saying, women's rights, who cares? I'm not a women's liber, but I can kind of draw the line at saying, you know what, you can treat women however you want to in the gaming world. It's okay. Just do whatever. And thank you, Tony, for letting me know that I had no sound. God bless you for not letting me do the whole video in silence. You're a doll. I really appreciate you. You are a blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just really am sad about this. It really breaks my heart but there, like I said, there have been some rumblings behind the scenes, because I'd heard some things over the years about Blizzard, and I didn't want to believe them. You talk to some people that play the games, and you talk to people that are behind the scenes, and over the course of the years, I've been online for years, and you talk to people that play these games, and you get into friend groups that are friends with people that play behind the scenes and that know people behind the scenes, and you hear some stories and you think, that can't be real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really sad. Really sad. So I'll leave that off for you guys. I wanted to read this because Repzilla was reading that contract, and I'm like, no, I'm going to go read the contract. I want everybody else to hear what I'm hearing, because this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous what these guys are getting away with. So I love you guys. I wanted to let y'all hear what I was hearing, and just know that this is not okay. This is not okay. Just not okay. We don't treat women like this. We don't treat anybody. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, okay? Everybody should get equal pay. If you're coming in on the ground floor, start out pay. But if you're working your butt off and you show initiative, I believe you should make as much money as the next guy should. I don't think women should make bottom floor pay. I think if a woman comes in and she works hard and she shows what she can make, then she should get up there. Everybody has the option to be able to make that money. And, like I've always worked in a company where I made salary. I didn't make salary. I had to make my hourly wage. I never had a job where I made salary, ever. So I didn't know what a salaried wage was. and I had to put in my hours. And of course, I didn't have a problem putting in hours because with my job, you went in and did your job, because when you take care of patients, you just have to go in and do your job and go home. And it was long days, long days. So, but I love you guys. Love your faces. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And yeah, bonus video. Sorry about that, but just had to put this out there. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye, guys.